Hey, it is day 17, and we are starting something kind of special today. The book of Jeremiah is so full of death and destruction and violence and gloom, but there's this collection of material not in the middle of the book, but right where we are, that is so starkly different from that Bible geeks call this the Book of Consolation. It's chapters 30 through 33. We read yesterday chapter 29. That's not technically considered part of the Book of Consolation. But these are poems of hope and peace and joy and a future. And there's so much good stuff going on. We're going to read the Book of Consolation over the next 3 days. Today we're going to read chapters 30 and 31. And there's a ton of really good stuff going on in these two chapters. I think the best way for you to soak everything up is not for me to try to explain it and walk everything through. It's just for you to read it slowly and read it out loud if you can. That, I think, just keeps us from skimming over something and missing something, because chapters 30 and 31 are so packed with beautiful stuff. Now, when you get closer to the end of chapter 31, you're going to find a paragraph that is probably really familiar to you, and that's verses 31 through 34, where God promises to make a new covenant. You may remember a week and a half ago or so, we read about how the heart is likened to a tablet of stone that's been engraved with sin. Sin has been carved onto the hearts of people. But in these verses, chapter 31, verses 31 to 34, God promises that He's going to carve on the heart of sin. But He's not going to carve sin. He's going to carve His law, His instruction, His will, and His wisdom. He's going to imprint on our hearts His heart. And so He's going to be making us into new humans, basically. Now, you may remember this like way back at the beginning in chapter 3. We saw how if a man divorces his wife and she goes and marries another man, and then that man dies or divorces her, she can't go back to her first husband. It's an abomination for him to take her back. And this raised the problem. How can God receive His people back if He's already divorced them? He can't enter into a new covenant with them. He can't enter into a new marriage covenant with His people. If He does that, would He be breaking His own law? Well, I don't think He's breaking His law, but I do think He's bending the law. I think He's motivated by His love and His compassion, that He's like looking for a way to make this work. Is there any way that I can take them back? He wants so desperately to take His people back. And so the argument that I think the book is making here is that because they have these new hearts, that His people, she's not the same woman anymore. He can take her back because she is not the same woman. And that, I think, is really beautiful and powerful and convicting. So I hope that you enjoy it. Today, Jeremiah 30 and 31. Happy reading. I'll see you tomorrow.